And welcome to the second portion of our sales consultant analysis. The first video has already been posted and we did some analysis in SQL. This is the second part to that where we're going to be working with Python and Jupyter Notebook. Now in terms of writing out the code, I'm not going to sit here and write out the code for this project because if I did, this video would be an hour, 2 hours long. I'm simply going to copy paste what I have already saved on another page. But I am going to break down what we're doing and the results that we're getting and the insights that we're going to get from it to break down to you what is actually going on. So let's get started with that. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to import all of our libraries. We're going to run that. And then we are going to load our data set. And for our first analysis, we are going to merge the sales and salesman data on salesman ID. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to calculate performance metrics and we're going to sort by total sales and we're going to visualize the total sales for us to be able to take a look at a nice chart. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's run this. Okay. So here's our bar chart and also here's our little table. So I'm going to break down to you what's going on. So in terms of key metrics, what we are able to identify here is when we're speaking about total sales, we can see that the total revenue generated by each salesperson is the primary indicator of their performance. Our top performer is Andrew Thomas, who leads with a total sales of over 1.9 million. The other high performers include David Miller, Sophia Moore, and Michael Williams. They all generated over 1.7 million in total sales. Now, total sales is one thing and total profit is another. More importantly, a business has to be profitable, not just necessarily having higher sales. So this metric reflects how much profit each salesperson's transactions contributed. So when we take a look, we can see that Sophia Moore stands out with the highest total profit of over 413,000. And this indicates that potentially she may have been more involved in more profitable deals despite not being on top in total sales, but we're going to take a deeper look and see. Now let's discuss average sale price. On average, the vehicles that they are selling, what's the average price of the vehicles that each individual is selling? This is going to show us what's the average value of a transaction handled by each salesperson. And we can see that David Miller has the highest average sale price at around $22,000, suggesting potentially he might be specializing in higher value transactions, meaning more expensive cars. Then we want to take a look at the number of sales, how many vehicles are being sold. This is going to indicate how many vehicles each salesperson is selling, and we can see that Sophia Moore sold the most vehicles right here, which coupled with her high total profit highlights her consistency in making high value deals. Now let's talk about some observations. Let's compare efficiency versus volume. Some salespeople excel in high value transactions like David Miller, while others achieve their success through volume like Sophia Moore. Someone like Andrew Thomas leads in total sales, but is slightly behind Sophia Moore in total profit. This could indicate that his transactions might not have been as profitable on average. Now, visually speaking, we can see a bar chart here that provides us a quick comparison of total sales. And we can see that Andrew Thomas dominates everyone else, followed by David Miller and Sophia Moore. This visualization is helpful for quickly identifying the top performing salespeople. Now, potential next steps that we could do in our analysis is we could analyze the relationship between sales volume, sales price, profit to identify any patterns. We could evaluate if certain salesmen perform better during specific times of the year, seasonality analysis, and we could also look at the customer demographics to see if specific salesmen have stronger relationships with certain customer groups. So let's go on to our second analysis that we're going to conduct. So what we're going to do here is we're going to extract our year and month from the sale date. And we are going to group by year, month, and salesman to calculate the total sales. And we're going to find our top salesman by month. And we want to be able to sort the results by year, month. And then most importantly, we want to be able to display this. So let's run this. And we can see the top salesman for each month starting from January of 2014 all the way to December of 2016. We have their salesman ID, the name of the salesperson, and the total sales conducted by them. But let's go ahead and visualize this, and it'll help us a little bit understand it better. So what we are going to do is we're going to do a little bit of a visualization. We're going to run this, and we can see top salesman by month. So in terms of insights, our high performers are Michael Williams, Chris Davis, David Miller, and Alex Johnson. They appear multiple times as monthly top performers, which indicates that they're consistent high performers. When we want to discuss exceptional months, we can see that John Smith in February of 2015 had over $154,000 in sales. David Miller in March of 2016 had over $174,000 in sales. And most importantly, Michael Williams in April of 2016 had over $207,000 in sales, which delivered the highest recorded sales during this period. Now, if we want to look into emerging patterns, we can see that Chris Davis consistently dominated in the mid-year months, April and May. Sophia Moore, Emily Taylor, and Jessica Brown performed well towards the year end and also into the early months of the following year. Now, let's imagine if you're a manager in this situation and you want to make some decisions based off this data. Well, there's a potential to incorporate training opportunities, because we can see that salesmen who are not appearing on the list may potentially need some coaching to improve their strategies. And we could also implement some reward and recognition to high performers, especially those with repeat sales wins. If you'd like, you could, reward them, or they could also be considered for leadership roles. So let's do another analysis. We are going to work on a correlation matrix next. So we're going to add our data. We're going to group the data by salesperson for aggregated analysis. And we want a correlation analysis, and we want to visualize the relationships and scattered plots. And let's set up our scatter plots and make sure we're able to display them. Okay. Let's run this. Okay. So we are going to discuss what we were seeing here, and I'm gonna try my best to do an explanation of this correlation and this correlation matrix. So the matrix quantifies the relationships between total sales, total profit, and number of sales. So first, total sales versus total profit, the correlation coefficient is 0.596, and I would interpret this as a moderate positive correlation. It means that higher total sales generally lead to higher total profit, but the relationship isn't perfect. Possible reasons could be discounts or low margin products like the vehicles that were being sold could cause the sales to increase without a proportionate increase in profit. High margin profits, high margin products may not always have the highest sales volume. Now, when we're discussing total sales versus the number of sales, we can see that the correlation coefficient is 0.813, and I would interpret this as a strong positive correlation between total sales and the number of sales. This would indicate that salespeople with higher transaction volumes tend to generate higher total sales. And the possible reasons for this are, higher sales volume directly contributes to revenue, regardless of the individual transaction values, or sales volume is a critical driver of revenue in this data set. Now, third, in terms of total profit versus the number of sales, our correlation coefficient is 0.355, and you would interpret this as a weak positive correlation. And this would suggest that simply making more sales will not guarantee higher profits. Possible reasons for this could be a salesperson is selling high margin products in fewer transactions. And this could generate more profit than those selling low margin products in bulk. Profit margins may vary slightly across the products or deals. So let's talk about some key takeaways. And I think we can take a look at this and see that sales volume matters because a strong correlation between total sales and the number of sales highlights that the revenue is heavily influenced by the transaction volume. And sales strategies focused on increasing the number of transactions could boost overall revenue. Now, profit is going to depend on margins, so the moderate correlation between total sales and total profit suggests that profit is not solely dependent on revenue. And we need to emphasize selling high margin products to maximize profit. Now, third, there's a weak link between profit and volume. The weak correlation between profit and the number of sales could indicate that transaction quality, for example, margin, matters more than quantity. Sales people should be trained to focus on high margin opportunities rather than just increasing their transaction count. Some potential recommendations could be made, such as improving profit margins. We could look at we could analyze profit level margins to identify high margin products and train salespeople to prioritize those vehicles. We could target high value customers, and we could do that by focusing on customers likely to make larger purchases as they contribute significantly to the profits. Now, lastly, salesperson evaluation. We could use this matrix to identify salespeople who excel in increasing volume, revenue, or profit, and they align their strategies accordingly. Okay, so next, let's see what else we can do. Let's go ahead and visualize total sales and total profit by month. And the way we'll do that is, let's see. Okay, let's take a look at this. So we can see we have two charts here. One of them is total sales by month, and the other one is total profit by month. And we have seasonality matrix as well. So the key metrics that were identifiable in terms of total sales by month, we can see that the bar chart shows how sales revenue varies across the months, and we can see that months with higher total sales often correspond with increased customer activity. This could possibly influenced by promotions, holidays, seasonal trends, potentially tax season. A lot of people try to purchase vehicles during tax season once they get money back. Secondly, we can look at total profit by month, and we can see that the profit chart complements the sales data, highlighting which months were most profitable. And we can also see that high profit months can indicate higher margins or fewer discounts, while lower profits may suggest sales incentives or lower margin deals. Now, thirdly, in terms of average sale price, we can see that average sale price provides insight into the type of vehicle sold. So are we talking higher end vehicles or economy models? If the average sale price tends to be upward in specific months, it could suggest a preference for luxury models or higher value vehicles during those times. Now, lastly, if we talk about the number of sales, the count of the sales per month reveals customer activity levels. A mismatch between high sales numbers and low profit might indicate low margin deals. So the potential patterns that we're looking at are holiday seasons, meaning peaks in sales and profit during the holiday periods, and this could indicate successful promotional campaigns. And then also, when we're talking about slow months, we could identify the months with lower performance and investigate potential reasons such as a lack of campaigns, reduced inventory, or external factors such as economic trends. So really, when we're thinking about the insights for decision making, number one, we have to think about inventory planning. Being able to stock more vehicles in high demand months and adjusting inventory for slower periods is going to be crucial. Secondly, marketing campaigns. We need to be able to focus promotions during the months with historically low sales to balance revenue throughout the year. And third, lastly, we need to discuss and think about sales strategy. We need to encourage the sales of higher margin vehicles during the high traffic months to maximize that profitability. Let's see what else we can do. Okay, let's do a customer segment distribution. And we're going to standardize the data for clustering. Let's go ahead and apply the k-means clustering. And let's summarize each segment. And we need to visualize the segment distribution and also visualize spending by segment. So let's come down here. Let's run this. Okay, so let's take a look and discuss our findings. Scroll down a little bit. We can't see both of them, but we will take a look at both in just a second. So first we have a customer segment distribution. We have the number of customers in the segment that they're in. And then down here we have average spending by customer segment, average spending in the segment that they're in. So let's discuss this. So key metrics from the customer segmentation, First off, the segments and customer distribution. The segmentation divides the customers into three groups based on their total spending, their average purchase value, and the number of purchases. So the bar chart shows us the numbers of customers in each segment. For example, segment 0 is the largest segment with customers making lower average purchases. Segment 1 is moderate sized with medium spending habits, and segment 2 is even smaller with high value segment with customers spending significantly more per transaction. Now, spending behavior by segment. So segment 2, high spenders, they're considered the smallest group, but they contribute the highest average spending on purchases. And this is likely due to loyal or high value customers who make fewer but more expensive purchases. Segment 1, who are going to be our moderate spenders, our middle-sized group with balanced spending behavior. This could be a casual customer who shops occasionally but have decent purchase values. And then segment 0 are low spenders. This is our largest group, but they contribute the least to our overall revenue. And these customers make frequent but low value purchases. Now, when we're discussing average purchases per customer, the smaller high value segment tend to make fewer purchases, but they're larger purchases compared to the other segments. Now let's discuss actionable insights. Well, first, high value customers in segment 2 contribute the most to revenue despite their smaller size. And we could focus on retention strategies like loyalty programs, exclusive deals, and personalized offers to keep them engaged. When we're talking about moderate spenders, meaning segment 1, we can encourage higher spending through targeted marketing or cross-selling opportunities. We can highlight premium products or bundle deals. And then third, when we're discussing our low spenders, which are going to be segment 0, this is obviously our largest group, but they generate the least amount of revenue. And we could potentially focus on increasing the transaction values, again, through promotions, discounts, or campaigns that encourage upselling. So in terms of strategic recommendations, we need to develop customized strategies for each segment. So for segment 2, we could enhance the customer experience and we could build loyalty. For segment 1, we could educate about premium offerings and we could bundle deals. For segment 0 customers, we could focus on increasing the spending by highlighting the value for money products. Okay, let's come down and see what else we can take a look at. Okay, let's do a trend analysis where we take a look at year and month. We're going to aggregate the monthly sales. We're going to visualize the sales trends, and then we're going to do a sales prediction to kind of forecast future sales. So we're going to plot the historical and predicted sales, and let's take a look and see what that will give us. So this is a lot of code, but we are going to run it. Ignore this. So we see sales trends over time. And in terms of a sales prediction, we can see that there's potentially an increase. So if we go ahead and kind of discuss this, historical sales growth, the line plot reveals key patterns over time, that there's a consistent upward trend, and this may indicate a growing demand or successful marketing strategies that the business is implementing. There are periodic dips that could suggest seasonality or external factors impacting sales. And we also can see seasonal patterns, like peaks in sales might coincide with holidays or promotions or high demand periods. And we do also have slower months that can highlight opportunities to boost sales through the targeted campaigns that we discussed earlier. Now for the prediction analysis, in terms of model performance, the mean squared error reflects the average error in predicting sales. The R squared value indicates how well the model explains the variation in sales, and a higher squared value suggests a better model accuracy. So 0.7 is generally good. Future sales forecast, the model is going to predict sales for the next 12 months, and the forecast can reveal an expected growth or a decline in sales, also seasonal peaks and dips that align with the historical patterns. And you're able to see this here. So in terms of actionable insights, we can identify high-performing months using the historical and predicted peaks to plan inventory, staffing, and promotions. We can also capitalize on these periods to maximize revenue. Number two, we can address low-performing periods. Again, like we said, with using marketing campaigns, discounts, or financing options to increase demand in slower months. We can also evaluate external factors like competition, economic conditions that may affect the sales. And number three, we could forecast validation. We could compare the forecasted sales with actual sales over time to improve the model accuracy. And we could also enhance the predictions by incorporating more features like customer demographics, economic indicators, vehicle preferences. And then lastly, in terms of long-term strategy, if the forecast shows a consistent growth, we could consider expanding the inventory or resources. But also, if the predictions indicate stagnation or decline, we could evaluate areas for improvement, such as pricing strategies or new customer acquisition. Right, and that's going to be it for this second portion of our sales consultant analysis that we conducted. I will leave various links down below to my GitHub, where you will have access to this Python project and also the SQL project we did before, and also all the associated material in CVS files and the code for both projects along with it. Please feel free to follow me on my GitHub. I will also leave a link for my LinkedIn. You're more than welcome to connect with me and say hi on there. I hope this was interesting and you learned something from it. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.